My name is Brian Alexander Jones, and you're watching the Black History Network. Our aim here is to educate those on Black history and celebrate Black culture around the world. This series on slave rebellions and those who led them is meant to tell the stories of those who fought back. From Toussaint Louverture of Haiti to Nat Turner of Virginia, this documentary series will cover and tell their stories. Today's episode is going to be on an extraordinary story of a revolutionary hero of Venezuela by the name of Andresote. A 3-year revolt was led by Andresote from 1730 to 1733 during the Spanish colonial period. He fought against Spanish colonial rule and its backing of a trading monopoly known as the Royal Gascon of Caracas. The trading company was founded in 1728 by a wealthy group of Basques, an ethnic group which speaks a language unique to the continent of Europe. The Basques are from the province of Guipuzcoa in Spain. Andresote was the child of a Native American mother and an African father, of which Zambo refers to a person of mixed African and Native American ethnicity. The company behaved nearly autonomous to the Spanish crown. The company had command of its own military and conducted military operations in Venezuela against the de facto Dutch monopoly on the coca trade. The company was given full authority over the importing and exporting of goods in Venezuela, including the importing of African slaves. Born a slave in Valencia, Venezuela, Andresote would escape slavery with his brother, Jose Francisco. Andresote, needing to make a living somehow, became a smuggler of coca and tobacco with the Dutch from Curaçao from the port of Caracas, which were sold at better prices in Antwerp and Amsterdam versus the Spanish ports. However, Andresote's activities didn't go unnoticed by the Royal Gascon. The company took advantage of the low-cost farming in the Venezuela colonies, selling goods at a higher cost in the Caribbean and Europe. The Spanish crown profited greatly from this. Actively engaging in the slave trade, they would sell to large landowners, keeping a tight stranglehold on the ports to the mountains, inflicting terror on free Africans, the poor, farmers, and Maroons, who they felt were a threat to their power over trade, especially slaves, preventing the reselling of goods to the Dutch smugglers or anyone else for that matter, levying heavy taxes in the region. Andresote would go on to form an army of free Africans, Native Americans, mestizos, and Europeans, opposed to the Spanish monopoly on trade in the region of modern-day Uruguay and to fight against the injustice of slavery. He organized his army in the Caracas Valley and the mountains of Uruguay along the central coast and the Falcon Basin on the northwest coast of the Caribbean. This region had settlements of runaway slaves, establishing a dual campaign against the Royal Gascon. Both armies had business relations with Dutch traders from Curacao who brought goods at a higher cost and sold at a lower cost to aid farmers in the struggle against the monopoly. This gave support to Andresote's resistance from many farmers across Venezuela, plus 60 Dutch troops which joined Andresote's forces. Some sources say that the Dutch actually pushed Andresote to do this for their own interest. Nevertheless, Andresote's cause was backed by the will of the people, and most importantly, it was a fight for freedom from slavery and tyranny. Andresote's troops would use guerrilla warfare to attack the Spaniard troops, utilizing the rivers and the sea. As a result, colonial governor Sebastian Garcia de la Torres prohibited travel by boat on the river. In July of 1731, Andresote defeated colonial troops under the command of Luis Arias Altamirano at the Yuraqui River mouth. He would go on to defeat Juan Romualdo de Guevara, who led Spanish troops sent by the crown and confiscated goods from several colonial posts.
Adelante.
Gobernador, he regresado de batalla. Se ha perdido otro puesto, saqueado y quemado abastecimientos. Romualdo de Guevara no pudo detener a sus rebeldes.
Es que todo lo que has venido padeciendo.
El después ha mandado un mensaje.
In September of 1731, Andresote demanded that the Royal Gascon end its harassment of the people or wipe them from the province entirely.
Cuando se devuelve ese salvaje, lucharé contra él hasta la muerte. Envío un mensaje a San Felipe, que plan de manzanera de una Mercedes. Quiero una recompensa por su cabeza. 600 pesos.
Garcia de la Torres vowed to fight Andresote to the death. With Manzanera in October to lead a search party for Andresote's rebels. With 300 troops, a bounty of 600 pesos was placed upon Andresote's head. Manzanera's troops were found by Andresote and his troops before he could find them. In a guerrilla ambush, 5 of Manzanera's troops were killed and within an army of mostly people of color, many deserted and joined Andresote's misfortunes, Manzanaro returned to San Felipe with 46 men, where he had originally stationed his troops, dispersed and defeated. At this point, the colonial governor was fed up.
Manzaneta fue derrotado, señor.
¡Odiamos esto! Esto ha ido demasiado lejos. Lo haré yo mismo.
Personally led 70 troops to San Felipe and built an army of 1,500 men to fight Andresote and his rebels. These troops were spread throughout the valley. They were ordered to seize any goods moving on the Yuriki River. Several towns and settlements of free Africans and runaway slaves were destroyed. Anyone suspected of being a collaborator of Andresote was killed. The Spanish crown assigned Martin de Lardisabel to the task of squashing the rebellion. There are several arrests, summary judgments, and executions. Jose Francisco, Andresote's brother, was arrested and thrown in jail in Cadiz, Spain. Since there were so many collaborators of Andresote's, executions were suspended. Andresote himself fled on a ship to Corsa. The resistance continued without Andresote. The rebellion would end in the mountains of Yuriki after Lord Rizal replaced Garcia de la Torres as colonial governor due to Garcia de la Torres' accusations of corruption and his partnering with Capuchin monks, a religious order of the Catholic Church. Lord Isabel promised pardons for all of Andresote's collaborators in the mountains if they converted to Catholicism. However, they knew he just wanted to enslave them again. So they fled armed to Anaraco and built their own community where they could be free. Andresote was never heard from again. It is believed that he went on to continue his life as a smuggler in Curacao. There are some sources that allude to him becoming a pirate of the Caribbean. However, he is remembered as a national hero, a revolutionary, and a leader of the first anti-monopolistic struggle.